വേദിയിൽ ഫെല്ലോ വൈസ് ചാൻസലർ പ്രൊഫസർ മോഹൻജി, ശ്രീ ജോലിസ് ചന്ദ്രൻജി, രഞ്ജിത്ജി ആൻഡ് ഡോക്ടർ ലക്ഷ്മി വിജയൻ, ഏവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ നമസ്കാരം. ഞാനൊരു 2-3 തലമുറയായിട്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ മറുനാടൻ മലയാളികളാണ്. അപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ക്ഷമിക്കണം, ഞാൻ കൺവെർസേഷണൽ മലയാളം അതിൽ അത്ര എനിക്ക് സംസാരിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. വി ആർ യൂസ് ടു ഹിന്ദിയിലും ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലുമാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഡെയിലി അവിടെ ഡീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ അനുമതി ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ എൻ്റെ കാര്യം ഇവിടെ പറയാൻ. First of all, compliments Kesari for organizing this very important conference. I was born and brought up in the north of Vindhyas. This north-south divide is not something new. What is new is that it has taken an aggressive turn. The north has never been told about south, and I don't know how much the south has been told about north. Having born, brought up, lived all my life in North India, I still remember vividly the initial years when all of us coming from, in spite of staying in north for generations, we were referred to by one word which is called Madrasi. Apparently it had its origin in the Madras presidency, because everybody coming from south was considered to be coming from Madras presidency, and Madrasi was more a very derogatory term. That is how, they are Madrasis. We had faced something that today people from northeast, they are referred to as Chinkis, as Chinese. So this has been there. And one, as I said, that was due to this, Madras presidency and the lack of awareness, ignorance. Even, I'm sorry to say, I don't intend to, trigger any controversy, but even our national anthem, in one word, it dismisses the entire South as Dravida. As if everybody in the South are Dravidians. I have never seen India as a homogeneous, one race entity. We are a mixture of different races who have come together as Indians. We have been, we have lived here for centuries, but this entire South as one racial stock, Dravidian, is something that has been parroted all along. So this is again not something new. It has been happening. As a young child, I have read NCERT textbooks which used to dismiss the entire southern history in one chapter, History of South India. And that is how NCERT books would, in one chapter, the entire, from the great, Vijayanagar Empire to the Cholas and the Cheras, so from ancient to middle and modern India, they would all be dismissed in one go. We were always told that most of the freedom fighters came from Bengal and Punjab, and that South had very little to contribute, like Northeast. So this has been there. This divisive agenda has always been there. What is now worrying is that this has now taken the shape of an agenda. It has become very aggressive. And I am reminded, because often we tend to ignore these things. And I am glad that today in this meeting, you took up this academic portion very seriously. Israel today is a victim of academic witch hunt of the West. American universities have repeatedly referred to Israel as colonial, as expansionist, and as if all the Israelis were settlers, Jewish settlers, white Jewish settlers, whereas most of the Israelis are either brown or many of them are of African origin. Yet, Israelis are portrayed as the white race which has occupied the Arab land. In fact, there is a Supreme Court judge in the Israeli Supreme Court who is an Arab. Jewish and Arab marriages are common in Israel, yet it was projected as an apartheid state, and today that continued projection by the American academia, from where thousands of students pass out and join parties like Democratic Party, you have a strong, powerful lobby in the Democratic Party which categorically describes Israel as the aggressor and wants America to take a pro-Hamas stance. This is the long-term consequence of what is happening in America. In the American universities, which I'm sorry to say is dominated by the left cabal, the issue is no different in India. I've been part of academics since 1998. I've been teaching in Delhi University at the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, where I subsequently became the Director General, and now at Asia's first and India's largest media university. I was the author of what is now known as the JNU dossier. My article in the Pioneer triggered, at that time I was editor at the Vivekananda International Foundation. And that very clearly exposes how JNU, through not only its different departments, it nurtured a culture of separatism, nurtured a culture of anti-nationalism within the halos under the guise of academics. I would urge you to certainly read that piece which raised a storm across JNU. Protests were held against me and many things happened. I just want to quote a couple of lines from, I don't want to refer to the different organizations which have, for example, India's national tricolor has been routinely trampled and denigrated at the JNU campus. I can give you dates on which they were trampled in 2000, as late as 2011. The academics masquerading as liberals and feminists have been engaged in nefarious and anti-national activities by maligning India through their statements, lectures, publications, protests and demonstrations, seminars and symposia, through organizations which receive liberal funding from hostile foreign agencies. Now, to quote one such program, I would like to say that this is, they have always said that, I don't want to name these organizations. Yeah. Some of the JNU academics who have been actively involved in many of these programs have the distinction of attending international seminars organized by convicted Pakistani agent Ghulam Nabi Fai, GN Fai, of the Kashmiri American Council in Muzaffarabad and elsewhere. In fact, according to a May 28, 2011 press release, because I worked a lot on this project of the council, Professor Kamal Mitra Chenoy of JNU has been quoted as having said that Kashmir is an international problem. The status quo was not acceptable to the people of Kashmir, and Azadi is the demand of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And this is the same that is happening now with regard to North and South. A new narrative is that South, developed South, is funding the underdeveloped North. Bombay is also a big revenue spinner. Gujarat is a big revenue spinner. They are all contributing immensely to the rest of the country. In a family, when a child is a little weak, the parents, the siblings, they all come together to support and sustain that weak child. As a nation, when we march on the path of progress, if a couple of states are trailing behind, as a nation, it's our responsibility to take them along. What kind of a narrative is being created economically? Because that they feel is something that will click with the younger generation. So historically, as has been cited by many of my previous speakers here, including Manya Nandkumarji, that there is a narrative when the Ram temple was built that Ram is a North Indian phenomena. I don't want to go deep into it, except that we have all, in our own homes for centuries, we have been having Ramayana Parayana. We have a Ramayana Masam at our homes. To say that Rama is a North Indian phenomena which is ridiculous. Yet there is a design wherein these kind of fault lines are sought to be created. I believe that it is important, because they believe in Goebbelsian propaganda. I'll just cite just a couple of, because there are other experts, panelists also, and then there would be a question and answer session. The kind of narratives that they have is unthinkable. When I was at the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and for the first time, I found in the syllabus that in communication models, Marxism was being taught as a communication model. I don't know how. It can be an example of miscommunication, but certainly not communication. But it was being taught. When I removed it and replaced it with Indian communication models, including Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, the headlines of the leading newspapers said that the DG is indulging in saffronization of media education. That is one word with which they tend to whitewash when all their crimes, and they want to project us in a certain light. Anybody talking about the nation, anybody talking about the country is painted as saffron. Can you imagine that for a brief while, our university has been a very nationalist institution. But for a brief while, there was a government which appointed a vice chancellor, the first thing he did was, we had Narada Suktas because we believe that Narada was the Adi Sancharak or Adi Patrakar, the first communicator. So we had Narada Suktas written on the walls of the university, which were covered. Thankfully, he did not demolish. He covered it with quotations from the Constitution of India. Was he trying to say that Narada is in conflict or in confrontation with the Constitution of India? What was the message which was sought to be conveyed? Constitution has its own place in modern India, but how can it either replace or in a way supersede what has been written in the Narada Suktas is beyond my comprehension. One of our scholars who is right now in Delhi University, and he is very actively involved with Pragya Prabha also. His name is Amarendra Arya from Bihar. His subject of thesis was Swami Vivekananda's communication model. He was asked to replace it with, and he is very Gandhian folklore in the villages of Bihar. Nothing against Gandhiji. I allowed that after I took charge as Vice Chancellor, because he had already worked a lot on that. And he wanted his PhD to be completed. The Vice Chancellor insisted that Swami Vivekananda be replaced by Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know where was the conflict between Mahatma Gandhi and Swami Vivekananda. That Swami Vivekananda had to be replaced by Mahatma Gandhi. These are live examples of how such divisive agendas were, taken forward as late as few years back. And it is happening today also. There was a student organization which, it was a social media organization which organized a yajna at the IIMC campus. And I allowed that despite protests from the left groups in the neighboring JNU. The newspaper headline was, "A defiant Director General allows Yajna to be held." Yajna has been held in colleges much before BJP came to power. In schools all over the country, Saraswati Puja used to be held. Why this newfound hatred for Saraswati Puja is beyond my comprehension. Similarly, because today's topic is this North-South agenda, there is a very clear-cut divisive agenda to state that racially, regionally, economically, linguistically, South is different from North. South is a continent in itself. In what I see as sowing the seeds of Dravidistan, it may sound a little far-fetched today, but this can be because we have seen what is happening in neighboring Tamil Nadu, where it has taken a political color also. And now the kind of language which is being spoken by the governments in Karnataka and now in Telangana is that a political difference is being projected. A political difference with the center is sought to be projected as a North-South divide. And academically there is an effort to nurture it through academic institutions. I do not deny that there is a lack of awareness. Many things were mentioned by His Excellency the Governor also, about how Adi Shankaracharya went from Kaladi and established the mutts, about how not only in Badrinath but also in Pashupatinath you have priests from Kerala who are performing the role of the chief priest. But it is there, it was there. In fact, the college where I studied in Delhi University is Sri Venkateshwara College, SV College. And it was referred to by most of the people in Delhi as SV Sambarwada College. You know? But what is sought to be made is that what was a lack of or due to ignorance about the South, which is now changing. I see a lot of North-South marriages happening. In fact, I myself married a North Indian girl. So, but this division that is sought to be, and it has become, there are lakhs of Keralites and people from other states who have made it their homes, who have built temples, schools, churches, you name it, they have all built it there. And they are thriving there. They are intermarrying, they are interdining. That, it is now something, dosha idli, which was patently South Indian, is now, prepared in every home in North India. And some of them make it better than us. It has become as much as today dhokla has become part of our national breakfast. Poha has become part of our national breakfast. But what is being done academically is something that is being worrisome, because it is from the schools and the colleges that the next generation and the universities are going to come. And they are going to be the policy makers. They are going to be in the armed forces. They are going to be in the... So the entire focus is on catching them young and to how to create that divisiveness in them. So my friends, Israel has learnt it at a very... And now they are, they have realized their mistake. In Israel there is a discussion where they have realized that we just left the Western academic institutions like that. China understood it. They have got Confucius chairs in different universities. Of late we have also started Swami Vivekananda centers. But again, those centers are working on the soft power, the dance, the music, not at the academic level as it ought to be. Not having chairs on Indian culture. Confucius chairs are being funded by the Chinese government in different Western universities, and scholars, supporters, a lobby, a pro-China lobby, not of Chinese. I mean, we feel that, when we say that we have a pro-Indian lobby, they are mostly NRI Indians. But what we need when we talk about a pro-Indian lobby is that there should be British lobbies for us, American lobbies for us, French lobbies for us, Canadian lobbies for us. How is it that in Canada a government can turn totally against and make wildest allegations against the Indian government, accusing it of targeted killing? It is because somewhere we ignored the Canadian academia. We need to have cultivated a strong academia. So friends, my only appeal is that academics is something we do talk here. There are going to be sessions on media, on mainstream politics, but the seeds are sown in the minds by the academia, right from the school to the university level. That is where our attention should be. And if we ignore that, if we don't see those attempts, those nefarious designs, then we are going to pay a heavy price for it. I'm glad that Kesari Conclave has taken note of this and has organized this, has rather triggered this debate today. I'm sure it will take further shape and it will become a national debate on the role of academia, particularly in perpetuating North-South divide. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you once again. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Powered by Jyotis. Realizing your dream home. Our ongoing luxury apartments projects are Crown near Karivattam, The Square near UST Global, White Manor near Achigal Ambalatra, and Evergreens Luxury Villas near Tirumala. Call 90482 55599. Jyotis Building Promoters Private Limited, Thiruvananthapuram.